10 ways Chopper is the worst Straw Hat in One Piece. Well, shots fired right from the title there. You are in trouble, good sir. Due to his gullibility, carelessness, and poor work ethic, Chopper has made dozens of mistakes that render his value to the crew questionable. I love the use of the term poor work ethic, as if Chopper is some sort of low-grade data entry employee constantly missing deadlines, probably because of all of the homemade substances he takes. My name is Liam, by the way. I'm a big fan of fictional pirates, and one of my favorite things to do is to read terribly written One Piece articles. And one of my dog's favorite things is pats, and luckily for everyone who subscribes as a result of this video, he will receive one pat. So subscribe generously and make this good boy's dream come true. Now, let's hear about why Chopper sucks. Chopper has made dozens of mistakes that render his value to the crew questionable. His gullibility, carelessness, and again, poor work ethic have all been deficits that have haunted the heroes at one point or another. Based on his many flaws, one might reasonably label him as the worst Straw Hat. As soon as I saw the title of this, I knew I couldn't resist. And this article comes from an old favorite, CBR.com, so let's find out why Chopper is the worst Straw Hat in all of One Piece. Number 10. Chopper was ultimately responsible for the Kaido Big Mom alliance. I'm sorry, he did what now? When Chopper first uncovered Big Mom on the shores of Wano, he quickly realized that she had amnesia. Considering that Luffy was currently imprisoned at Udon, he used her in order to crush their enemies and bust him out. This article makes Chopper sound like some sort of evil, hoofed mastermind. As if he found Big Mom on the beach, used his doctor knowledge to diagnose her with some sort of evil amnesia, and said to himself, "Mwahaha, I shall use this rotund hag to crush the enemies of my me." But the way I remember things is, Chopper found Big Mom on the beach and promptly soiled his reindeer pants. However, there are a number of factors making this a bad decision. Not only was Luffy fully capable of leaving on his own accord after mastering Advanced Armament Haki, but Queen's decision to escort Big Mom to Kaido would also soon result in a deadly pirate alliance. Now, to be fair to Chopper, he didn't know that Luffy was studying Advanced Armament Haki, or that Advanced Armament Haki existed, or potentially, to be honest, even that Haki existed. I don't think that Chopper has ever even said the word Haki. And I feel like no matter what, Big Mom eventually would have found her way to Kaido, and pinning the most powerful pirate alliance of all time on an innocent, drug-addicted reindeer is a bit of a stretch. But that is just the beginning. Number 9. Chopper relied on Luffy to deal with Waffle and his underlings. Now, to be fair, that does sound like a rather poor work ethic. Essentially relying on your boss to do your job for you? I mean, if I were Luffy, I would have fired Chopper for this, even though I hadn't hired him yet. When Waffle first arrived at Drum Island to reclaim his kingdom, his first task was to take the castle. Alongside his minions, he braved the mountain and confronted the residents living there. This article is kind of making it sound like Waffle was the hero of this arc. In order to reclaim his rightful ancestral home, Waffle and his minions braved the mountain to confront the evil yet incompetent Rain Doctor. Despite all Kureha had done for him, Chopper was not strong enough to defeat Waffle personally. Instead, he was of minor assistance against the villain's underlings, and left the bulk of the fighting to the Straw Hat captain. Were it not for Luffy's unexpected help, Chopper would have failed to defend his own home. So yeah, Chopper is the worst Straw Hat because he had to ask for help. That fiend. Just like how Usopp is the worst Straw Hat because he needed help defending his own home, Sanji is also the worst Straw Hat because he needed help defending his floating fish home, and Nami is the absolute worst Straw Hat because she needed help liberating her home from fish. Also, literally every Straw Hat needed Luffy's help in some way or another. It's one of those, very core themes of the entire story thing. But you know what? F Chopper regardless, because number 8, Chopper is hard to get along with. Okay. Chopper is easily the hardest Straw Hat to get along with, and that is not a small feat when considering the crew's composition. I'm very disappointed that the author elected not to use a pun here because Chopper has notoriously small feet. For example, he will aggressively lash out and insult those who give him compliments, swearing that he doesn't like them when in reality he does. Additionally, Chopper's awkward quirk of hiding incorrectly may not bode well for stealth missions. Fair enough, because I'm sure that every other Straw Hat would be far more useful on stealth missions. Luffy would just barge in, Zoro would also just barge in, and of course Frankie would just barge in, just much more loudly and nakedly. If I were to rank the crew just by stealth, I think that Chopper falls somewhere in the middle. He doesn't quite have the skills of the stealth trio being Sanji, Robin, and Brook, but he also doesn't have the complete mental deficiencies of the Luffy, the Zoro, and the Frankie. That's not going to save him though, because we have 7 more reasons why Chopper, he just sucks so much. Number 7. Chopper needed Zoro to save him from from Ohm. I feel like if we're going to go through every time a Straw Hat needed saving, then Nami would probably end up being the worst. During the Straw Hat's battle against Eneru's high priests, Chopper encountered Ohm, already exhausted from his fight with Garatsu, who he beat, by the way, on his own. Do you know how many Straw Hats beat one of Enel's priests on their own? 2. And one of them was a reindeer with a very, very poor work ethic. The doctor was in no condition to continue on and nearly got executed. Due to his weakness and relatively low endurance, Zoro was forced to intervene on his behalf. Although Chopper managed to defeat Garatsu, virtually every other shipmate would have fared better in his position. So what we're saying here is that virtually every other Straw Hat also would have lost, but they would have lost less badly or alternatively more goodly than Chopper did. I don't know, man, because in the words of the great magical fish dragon, winning is winning, losing is not winning, and winning is the thing that matters. That's obviously heavily paraphrased, but you get the idea. And now another reason why Chopper sucks is because, number 6, Chopper had no formal training after the time skip. I think the author meant to say during the time skip because no Straw Hat has had formal training after the time skip. Apart from Luffy, but that was some hard prison training. Definitely no formal outfits there, not a tie to be seen. Most Straw Hats had some sort of formal training or mentor in the 2-year time skip. Zoro worked with Mihawk, Luffy trained with Rayleigh, and even Frankie used Vegapunk's notes as a reference for his latest inventions. That's interesting. The fact that Frankie, he learned things by reading other things. Kind of maybe like how Chopper did when he discovered the world's most advanced medical library and read lots and lots of book things, thus turning him into one of the world's foremost medical genii. His lack of progression was evident when rejoining the crew. Though mastering Monster Point, Chopper rarely uses his ultimate form and has not grown significantly stronger than before. That's kind of crazy. The first Straw Hat to not only awaken their devil fruit, but also master that awakening. And also, while he was extremely busy becoming a super awakened doctor, Chopper also found the time to become a self-taught kung fu master. I don't know about you, but I am simply aghast at just how poor Chopper's work ethic is. Number 5. Chopper drew Big Mom's attention to Kinemon's group at Wano. You know, it's almost as if this damn Chopper was actively trying to betray the alliance. When Kinemon's group attempted to flank Onigashima, they went across a narrow bridge. Detecting a large presence on the opposite side of a thin wall, most of the soldiers dove underwater for cover. Just something to point out here because I loved this scene. When noticing Big Mom, Kinemon's first thought was, quick, jump into the water, but he's a devil fruit user, so he almost accidentally killed himself. Good old Kinemon. But hey, how dare Chopper not do exactly the same? He should have jumped in the water and promptly drowned. And then the number 4 reason why he is obviously the worst Straw Hat is because he would have accidentally killed himself. And I know I keep saying this, but it all comes down to one thing: poor work ethic. As a result, it had compromised the plan even more than Luffy already had. So weirdly enough, Chopper's decision here actually made the plan a lot easier, because he became bait to lure Big Mom away from the samurai, which allowed Kinemon's forces to get into position. Meanwhile, Luffy just blew the entire plan due to starting a food fight. Am I claiming that Chopper is smarter than Luffy? Yes. Am I claiming that Chopper is stealthier than Luffy? Also yes. Am I claiming that Chopper is a better Straw Hat than Luffy? Look, the potential argument is there. Number 4. Chopper never dealt with Hogback despite being his nemesis. In the end, most Straw Hats defeat their nemesis in some direct way. For example, Nami's begging for Luffy's assistance led to Arlong's downfall. Doesn't that make Nami kinda trash though? Because she had to rely on Luffy's help instead of beating Arlong herself to defend her own home. I mean, if we're talking about this as a bit of a good thing now, then it's kind of similar to how Chopper directly beat Waffle by accepting Luffy's help. But that's enough of that, because we are talking about Hogback now, and let me just get into the mood for this. Force. All right. Good. However, Chopper's efforts to stop Hogback were completely useless. The villain commanded zombies so deadly that it seemed like he and Robin were his next victims. Should Oz not have conveniently stomped on him, it is unlikely that Chopper would have been able to salvage the situation. The way I remember this happening is that Chopper and Robin, they were legit about to crack Hogback's skull open, with Chopper saying, and I quote, "I don't care. Your head is the only thing more rotten than these stupid zombies." And then Oz interrupted, giving Chopper Chopper the action equivalent of blue balls. Number 3. Chopper couldn't stop Usopp from getting mauled at Alabasta. In a 2-on-2 battle, Chopper did abysmally little to stop Usopp from getting mauled by Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. 4. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Screw Usopp. He should have been strong enough not to need to rely on some sort of anthropomorphic reindeer in the first place. If anything, this is a point against him, not Chopper. While the heroes were ultimately victorious against the Baroque Works agents, Chopper failed to prevent his partner's abuse time and time again. This article is now starting to sound like a court case. Your Honor, I, Trafalgar D. Lawyer, on behalf of my client, man with long nose but comparatively small genitals, do accuse this cotton candy loving pet of failing to prevent his partner's abuse time and time again. Although fortunately there's not a lot of judges in One Piece whose last names aren't Vinsmoke, and Vinsmoke Judge is well and truly on the record as in favor of partner abuse. So Chopper was fortunate enough to win this court case, but he's still a piece of and here is more reasons why. Number 2. Chopper does not use his abilities intelligently. Whether before or after the time skip, Chopper has never used his already mediocre abilities intelligently. Oh wow, that's legitimately one of the harshest sentences so far. I feel bad now. Don't listen to the bad author, my precious reindeer boy. In the beginning, he needed a rumble ball just to access them, which required him to halt the battle in order to consume them. Since he doesn't have the same striking power as Sanji or Jimbe, this effectively reduces his abilities into a weaker version of their own. I mean, he's not as strong as them, no. But to say that Chopper doesn't use his powers intelligently is probably the biggest sign that this author doesn't use his writing abilities intelligently. Chopper is one of the rare handful of characters who has actually managed to augment their devil fruit, push it past its natural limits, and awaken it on top of that, essentially granting him a Swiss Army Zoan adaptable to almost any situation. For a 17-year-old quadruped, Chopper uses his fruit abnormally well, so much so that I frequently rank him amongst the best devil fruit users in the series, primarily because of what he's got to work with versus what he managed to get out of it, which is sweet FA and a lot respectively. But reason number 1 why Chopper is the worst Straw Hat is number 1. Chopper almost hurt Nami at any slobby. Again, I feel like this is more Nami's fault for not being strong enough to defend herself here. Pushed past his limit, Chopper used Monster Point in order to defeat Kumadori at any slobby. Although his victory boded well for the heroes, he could not control himself afterward and wandered into Nami's fight against Caliphate. Should Chopper not have been dealt with quickly, he would have posed just as much danger to his allies as he did CP9. Horrified by his lack of control, Chopper later expressed his regret for exacerbating an already dire situation. Now, to be fair, this is kind of fair. In this case, Chopper was a potential detriment to the crew, but he studied and trained, mastering his flaw and turning it into his strength. And that is exactly why Chopper has the poorest work ethic in all of One Piece. For better ethics though, here's another video that may or may not be about ethics, but regardless, I look forward to seeing you there. God, so much dog hair all over you.